Stop thinking sex is what women crave most, because you've been lied to. The truth is far more dangerous and far more seductive than you realize. Most men spend their lives chasing physical attraction, thinking that a woman's desire can be earned by looks, money, or even fleeting charm. You see, society has conditioned men to believe that if they just show up with the right body, the right words, or the perfect move, they can unlock her deepest desires. But the moment you believe that, you've already lost. Because what women really crave isn't what's easy to give, and it isn't what's visible on the surface. It's far more complex, more primal, and more deeply wired than you think. Science tells us that women are subconsciously attracted to a very specific signal: authentic male confidence combined with emotional mastery. It's not about arrogance or fake bravado or the kind of swagger you see in movies. It's about the ability to command attention, make decisions without hesitation, and remain calm in the chaos that life throws at you. Women are biologically tuned to detect it. When a man demonstrates this consistently, it triggers something in her brain, a mix of admiration, respect, and undeniable attraction that surpasses even sexual chemistry. Think about the last time a woman genuinely looked at a man and her eyes lit up, not because he kissed her or because he showed off, but because he carried himself with certainty. That recognition, deep, instinctive, almost ancient, is the thing that turns her on more than sex ever could. And here's the kicker. Most men actively suppress this power because they confuse confidence with arrogance and emotional control with emotional detachment. Let me break it down. Every interaction you have with a woman sends thousands of microsignals. Her subconscious is reading you, even when you think she's not. If you hesitate, doubt yourself, or try too hard to impress, her brain interprets it as weakness. But if you maintain composure, make decisions decisively, and handle tension without panic, you release a chemical cocktail in her brain: dopamine, oxytocin, and a surge of subconscious attraction that science calls neuroaffective resonance. This is the part where her mind starts to associate you with security, excitement, and desire, all at the same time. Here's what most men don't realize. Women don't just crave sex. They crave the feeling of being captivated by a man who can lead, protect, and challenge her emotionally. Sex without that emotional charge is just physical, forgettable, and unfulfilling. But when you combine sexual tension with that raw, authentic confidence, you ignite something irreversible. Suddenly, you're no longer just a man she sleeps with. You're a man she thinks about, fantasizes about, and secretly respects in ways she doesn't even tell you. By now, you might be asking yourself, but how do I develop this? How do I become the kind of man that triggers that response naturally? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. But before that, let this sink in. What women respond to most is not your body, your money, or your words. It's your presence, your decisiveness, and your emotional gravity. Master that, and everything else becomes secondary. Most men think attraction is built in the bedroom. They spend hours memorizing pickup lines, learning techniques, or flexing muscles, believing these are the keys to desire. But here's the brutal truth. Women are wired to respond first to behavior, then to physicality. Sex is just the tip of the iceberg, the part they can't consciously explain, the thing that makes her stomach flutter, her heart race, and her mind wander, is your ability to make her feel seen, challenged, and secure at the same time. Let's break this down scientifically. Neuroscience shows that women's brains respond intensely to men who exude emotional certainty. When a man controls his emotions, responds calmly under stress, and makes decisions with conviction, it lights up her reward centers, the same areas that react to pleasure, dopamine, and even sexual arousal. This isn't theory. This is hard science. She may never say it out loud, but her subconscious recognizes it immediately. It's primal, it's magnetic, and it is infinitely more powerful than sex alone. Think of it this way. A woman can have sex with almost any man, but she can't feel captivated by just anyone. Captivation comes from a combination of challenge, intrigue, and emotional resonance. It's why she will remember the man who made her think, who made her laugh in a way she hasn't before, and who didn't flinch when things got uncomfortable. That energy, that presence, is what hooks her brain. Sex? That's optional. That's just icing on the cake. Now here's the mistake most men make. They confuse attention with desire. A woman can smile at you, laugh at your jokes, even flirt, but that doesn't mean she's feeling the kind of attraction that keeps her thinking about you days, weeks, or months later. The attraction that lasts is built on psychological dominance, emotional reliability, and unpredictability in the right measures. A man who is consistent, yet intriguing, reliable, yet mysterious, triggers a neurochemical high that sex alone cannot produce. There's a simple test. When was the last time a woman admitted she couldn't stop thinking about a man after one interaction? Rarely, right? But when that happens, it's not because of sex. It's because the man made her feel something deeper, something thrilling and safe at the same time. She felt tension, challenge, and excitement. She felt herself drawn in by the magnetic pull of a man who embodied the traits she unconsciously craves: leadership, stability, and dominance mixed with authenticity. And here's a secret men rarely realize. Women want a man who can provoke a controlled chaos in her emotions, not manipulation, not games, but a man who can ignite desire, curiosity, and anticipation, then anchor it with calmness, confidence, and emotional maturity. That combination makes her desire you more than sex itself. It creates a dependency, not unhealthy, but magnetic, where she thinks about you even when you're not there, imagines being with you in ways she can't articulate, and unconsciously associates you with fulfillment, security, and excitement all at once. You see, the key is not trying to force attraction. The key is becoming the kind of man whose mere presence triggers a chemical response in her brain, who challenges her, excites her, and reassures her simultaneously. When you master this, women are drawn to you, not for sex, but because you've activated the deepest wiring of her desire. Here's the part most men miss. Attraction isn't about talking a woman into liking you. It's about behaving in a way that activates her deepest wiring without her even realizing it. Every glance, every pause, every choice you make sends signals to her brain. Some men think giving attention equals attraction, but in reality, attention without challenge is invisible. What turns women on more than sex isn't physical. It's the subtle power of a man who owns his space, his time, and his decisions. Let's get tactical. First, notice how she reacts when you make decisions confidently. Women are wired to notice leadership. Simple things: choosing a restaurant without hesitation, handling a stressful moment without panic, even just calmly asserting your opinion in a conversation. These small, decisive actions trigger a biological response. Her brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that gives her pleasure and excitement. You've just created desire without touching her. Next, understand controlled unpredictability. I'm not talking about chaos or drama. I'm talking about a man who isn't an open book, who has layers she can't immediately decode. She's naturally drawn to solving puzzles. It's in her psychology. When she can't anticipate your every move, her brain releases a cocktail of chemicals, dopamine and norepinephrine, that heighten interest and arousal. This is why women remember men who are mysterious in subtle ways, not men who lay everything on the table immediately. Third, emotional mastery is a silent aphrodisiac. Women watch how you handle tension, rejection, and challenge. If you stay calm under pressure, if you don't overreact when she tests you, her subconscious labels you as stable, strong, and desirable. This isn't ego, it's biology. When you demonstrate emotional control, you signal that you're someone worth following, someone worth trusting, someone whose presence can make her feel safe yet exhilarated at the same time. Here's another trigger most men never use: deliberate attention combined with subtle detachment. Notice her deeply. Listen to her words, but don't overinvest. Respond in ways that show you're fully present, yet not desperate for approval. Science shows this tension between engagement and controlled distance is profoundly stimulating. It creates what psychologists call interpersonal friction, which sparks attraction far more effectively than physical touch alone ever could. And here's where most men fail. They confuse persistence with obsession. Women are not drawn to men who chase endlessly. They are drawn to men who move through life with purpose, who are indifferent to temporary approval, yet deeply capable of connection when it matters. That's the paradox. Desire is strongest when you are fully yourself, fully grounded, yet emotionally engaging in ways that stir curiosity and excitement. Combine these behaviors, decisiveness, subtle unpredictability, emotional mastery, and controlled engagement, and you've created a blueprint for attraction that surpasses sex itself. You've become the man whose presence alone triggers desire. She doesn't need to sleep with you to think about you. She doesn't need sex to feel captivated. Your behavior, your energy, and your emotional control have already wired her brain to respond to you in ways she cannot consciously resist. This is the turning point. Most men will never learn this. Most men will remain trapped in the lie that sex is the ultimate key. But if you master these behaviors, you will step into a rare zone where women are drawn to you, thinking about you, and desiring your presence long before anything physical ever happens. Here's the truth most men never realize. Women don't just crave sex. What they crave is a man who can move them emotionally in ways that feel both thrilling and safe. Sex is fleeting. Emotional triggers, subtle, invisible, and powerful, are permanent. They plant a seed in her subconscious that makes her think about you long after you leave the room. This is what separates men she forgets from men she obsesses over. Let's talk about emotional contrast. Women are wired to notice shifts in energy. When you can make her feel excitement, intrigue, and even a hint of tension, then ground her with calm, confidence, and stability, you create a neurological storm. Her brain interprets this as a signal of value. This man is unpredictable, yet stable. He excites me, yet I feel safe with him. That combination is far more intoxicating than physical intimacy because it stimulates both dopamine and oxytocin simultaneously, pleasure and attachment, creating a bond she doesn't consciously choose but feels irresistibly. Now, here's a subtle but powerful secret. Vulnerability paired with strength is magnetic. Most men think vulnerability is weakness. Wrong. Women respond to men who can show depth without losing control. Sharing a thoughtful opinion, expressing a small, meaningful emotion, or showing quiet integrity in the face of pressure. These micro moments signal that you are emotionally complex, capable, and trustworthy. She doesn't consciously analyze it, but her brain registers it as incredibly attractive. Another trigger that men almost never use correctly is selective praise and recognition. Women are surrounded by people who flatter them endlessly. What makes her feel truly alive is being seen for her unique value in a way that feels authentic. Compliment her intelligence, her insight, or the way she moves through life, but do it subtly, without overdoing it. The more you recognize her uniquely, the more her subconscious equates you with emotional satisfaction that goes far beyond physical attraction. Here's where it gets even more intense. Men who embody challenge without neediness ignite desire faster than any sexual move. Challenge means pushing her intellectually, teasing her playfully, or holding your ground when your values are tested. Women are subconsciously attracted to men who are worthy of pursuit, not men who bend to their every whim. Science calls this interpersonal friction, and it creates neural patterns associated with excitement, anticipation, and long-term desire. Finally, understand the power of presence and intensity combined. A man who is fully present, listening deeply, responding with intention, yet radiating calm confidence. His presence alone can turn a woman on more than sex ever could. Her mind links him to excitement, intrigue, and safety simultaneously. Every word you speak, every subtle gesture, every decision you make in her presence is being recorded in her subconscious. And this, not sex, is what plants the deepest, most lasting attraction. When you master these triggers, emotional contrast, vulnerability with strength, selective recognition, challenge without neediness, and presence, You enter a zone almost no man achieves. Women are not just drawn to you, they think about you, desire you, and emotionally chase you without realizing it. You become the man who turns women on more with your mind, energy, and behavior than any physical act ever could. By now, you understand the secret most men will never learn. Women are turned on more by the way a man moves, thinks, and commands presence than by anything physical. Sex is easy, desire isn't. Desire is crafted in the subtleties of your behavior, your energy, and the way you make her feel without even trying. The men who understand this don't just attract women, they become unforgettable. Here's the reality. Most men focus on the wrong things. They chase attention, try to impress, or overinvest in validation, believing this will ignite desire. But desire is not created through effort or pursuit. It's created through confidence, emotional mastery, and deliberate presence. When a woman feels safe yet excited, challenged yet intrigued, she begins to associate you with something far deeper than physical satisfaction. She begins to think about you, imagine you, and crave your presence in ways that sex alone could never achieve. Let's talk about integration, how to actually use this in real life. Start with small, consistent behaviors. Make decisions confidently. Hold your ground when tested. Listen deeply, but don't over-explain. Tease subtly, challenge gently, and recognize her uniqueness without neediness. Combine that with emotional control, staying calm under pressure, embracing vulnerability when appropriate, and radiating presence in every interaction. These actions create an invisible magnetism. Women feel it, even if they can't explain why. Here's another truth most men will never hear. Sex becomes exponentially more powerful when these behaviors are mastered first. A man who embodies leadership, intrigue, and emotional gravity doesn't need to force attraction. He doesn't need tricks. He doesn't need pickup lines or routines. When he touches her, when he initiates intimacy, it is amplified because her subconscious is already wired to respond. Desire is no longer optional. It's inevitable. And finally, understand this. Mastering these behaviors isn't just about attracting women. It's about transforming yourself. Confidence, emotional mastery, decisiveness, and presence are not only powerful tools in dating, they are life-changing skills. The man who can command attraction effortlessly becomes a man who commands respect, influence, and success across every area of his life. Women notice this, they respond to it, and the attraction that follows is far beyond sex. It's fascination, admiration, and a deep primal pull. Here's a challenge for you right now. Imagine a woman who could never stop thinking about you, not because of what you did in bed, but because of who you are, how you carry yourself, and the way you make her feel. Now think about what one small behavior you can master today that moves you closer to that version of yourself. I want you to write your answer in the comments below. If you could master one trait that would instantly make you irresistible without sex, what would it be? Think carefully. Type it out and share it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more truths no one else will tell you, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Disclaimer: this